So, NXT Stand and Deliver. I almost called it a takeover because I'm so used to it being an NXT takeover. I've been watching a lot of NXT recently, ever since they've moved it over to the network in the UK, and I've actually gotten really into NXT and the build to Stand and Deliver. I think we got a really interesting card here, some ones I'm not too sure about, and I'll get onto that literally in a second. But here are my predictions for NXT Stand and Deliver. So we start off with a match that I'm still not sure exactly what's happening with it, because I believe Joe Gacy picked up an injury and he might be getting checked over for the next little bit. But it's Joe Gacy versus Shawn Spears. If this does happen, I think Shawn Spears is probably going to end up picking up the win, just because they're building him up. He's just come in. I think Joe Gacy's one of those guys who I'm really not sure what they're doing with him anymore, or if they know what they're going to do with him. So he's just sort of spinning his tires a little bit in NXT, which is a shame because he's really, really good. But yeah, I think Shawn Spears is going to pick up the win on this one. We then have a 6-woman tag match as the team of Thea Hale, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley take on the team of JC Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame. This one's actually kind of interesting because the main story is Thea Hale, JC Jane, but you've got other people who have been feuding with each other for a little bit. I think because it's a pay-per-view, because it's Stand and Deliver, and it's just a random match, I could see Thea Hale picking up the win, i.e. Thea Hale, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. I do think they're probably going to give Thea the victory, the pin or submission, probably the submission. Pretty simple. I think the babyface team are picking up the win. Now, this is where things get interesting. For the NXT Tag Team Championships, we got the Wolf Dogs. I refuse to call them anything else. It's the Wolf Dogs all the way. Versus Axiom and Nathan Frazier. So they've got Braun going to SmackDown soon. I think they give them to Axiom and Frazier. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Great tag team. I think the Wolf Dogs have been incredible, but I just think it was to help give Braun one last thing before he goes up to the main roster permanently. I think this is the end of the Wolf Dogs, and I think this is the end of Braun Breaker in NXT. I think Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they're going to pick up the tag titles. We got the North American Championship on the line as Obafemi defends against Dijak and Josh Briggs. Now, first off, I want to say Obafemi has been absolutely incredible since I've been watching NXT again, like, consistently. Really, really good wrestler. Glad he won the breakout tournament, and glad that he actually ended up picking up the North American Championship. That being said, I do think he's going to retain. I would love for Dijak to win because I really like Dijak, but I'm not going to be mad at Obafemi retaining as long as Josh Briggs doesn't win. I think we're good on that one. Might as well just keep on for the rest of the video. For the NXT Women's Championship, Lyra Valkyria defending against Roxanne Perez. Now, this is actually probably one of the feuds and one of the stories that I've been the most interested in going into Stand and Deliver. Big fan of Roxanne Perez. I think Lyra Valkyria is a solid wrestler, and I think this has been a really interesting feud. I would usually say that this is probably going to go to Roxanne Perez. However, this idea that Lyra Valkyria is going to try and retain the championship in any way possible makes me think that this might be the first time that Tatum Paxley actually properly helps Lyra retain. I'm going to go with Lyra to retain the championship, but it could go either way, and I think I'd be happy with it personally. See, this is like my NXT type of booking. For the NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov defending against Tony D'Angelo. And I'm looking at the image. Why does Dragunov, like, just looking at Dragunov up close, why does he have such a defined chin? That's crazy, man. He literally looks like the bloody, what is it, Giga Chad memes? Nuts. I think Tony D'Angelo's winning. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I've talked myself out of it, actually. I think Dragunov's going to retain because of something that I'm about to talk about in the last match of the predictions. Dragunov to retain. I've talked myself out of it now. No going back. Dragunov, that's my final answer on that match. because we have Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes in the last match of the predictions. I think this is a Trick Williams win. It's probably like, no, it's not even probably. This is going to be the biggest win for Trick Williams so far. I do think that this could potentially be a Carmelo Hayes going up to the main roster type deal, but we will see on that one. But I think Trick Williams is going to win. I think we're finally going to get him versus Ilya Dragunov for the championship. And I think Trick Williams is probably going to beat Dragunov for the championship. And Dragunov will then go on to do whatever Dragunov does. But those were my NXT Stand and Deliver predictions. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.